Hey Danny, can you hear me?
Hi. I guess it's not showing my
Okay, I
picture.
can't hear you.
Okay, hang on.
Let me see. Okay, talk again.
Hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
It did connect to my Bluetooth, I think. Would it be better if I turn that off?
No.
No, it's good. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yay!
I know. Hi, you guys. Hi, everyone, for joining. Amazing guest today. Oh my God. She's going to be so good. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining Broke Dude Diaries. I'm so excited for this. Because again, the thing that I'm most allergic to is broke men, and I just can't wait to hear these stories about these broke ass dusty dudes who really just, who are just the epitome of schleps. That's what I call them. They're like absolute fucking schleps. Like they don't. There's nothing worse than a broke dude. Nothing worse.
Truly.
So, hi there. Good evening. How are you guys for joining? Thank you so much for joining. All right. So, we have an incredible guest today. Her name is Danny Katz, and she is my makeup artist, and she is so amazing, you guys. The reason you can't see her face is because TikTok is so stupid in that TikTok doesn't allow you, or sometimes it does, unless you have at least 1,000 followers to join in video. But as you can see her face, she is fucking stunning. She is
Aw.
gorgeous. Not only is she gorgeous, she is just so sweet and
Aw.
she is the epitome of a hustler. I kid you not. She does hair and makeup. You should see like when she comes to do your hair and makeup, she has these two big suitcases that I don't even know they would allow on the plane. Okay. And she drags that shit everywhere by herself, including like two other bags. I mean, this woman comes ready to go. And I am so happy to have her on as our guest. And she's going to be talking about these broke ass crusty dudes that,
Crusty dudes.
yeah, crusty dudes, that's what I call them instead of dusty now, that have come along her path. So, Danny, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, kind of tell them a little about yourself and your business?
All right. Well, I'm Danny. I am a hair and makeup artist, mostly for beautiful people like you, Patty, um, who is actually amazing at your makeup yourself. I always tell
Thank
you,
you.
I always tell you, whenever you're going on all of your Good Morning Americas and all your things, I'm like, girl, just do your own makeup. You're gonna do it better than any of us anyway. Like you're so good at doing your own makeup. And everyone always compliments you and then asks who did it, and you're always like, well, it was me.
They do. They're like, "Who did your makeup?" I'm like, myself.
Truly, you're so good at you. I mean, you have such an insane, gorgeous skin, and like you always know your best your lipsticks, your lip pencils. I don't know. You always like kill it with the lip game. It's a
Thank
slay.
you. Thank you.
Yay! But yeah, I am a hair and makeup artist. Happy 2025, feeling alive. Tomorrow is my first premiere of the new year, so I'm super excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not on TikTok that much. I'm learning. I literally didn't even like know how to do this until you told me. So, but you can find me on the Instagram at Danny Does It, Danni does it. But yeah, it's so funny. I had to do like the deep dive because I really have sworn off dating for a long time because of all these broke ass, crusty ass dudes.
Yep.
Um, they just are such a waste of time, and I feel like the apps are not for me. I'm a girl that like has her shit together. I've got my place, I've got my career, I've got my dog, I've got my so it's like all I need is that other piece, and I'm not avidly out looking for it because when I've done that, I've had some horrible experiences, which we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
So,
Let's get into them.
oh my gosh, I know I sent you. I had.
What happened?
Are you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Okay. Am I gonna lose you?
No, we're good. I can hear you. It just keeps pausing. I don't know if you just have a bad connection. Danny.
Are you
Wait,
here?
who's this person? Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So sorry. No, I was pulling up. You.
Okay, so now we're here. Wait, Danny, you keep pausing. Danny?
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here. I think what happens is when I try to go to my photos to pull up the screenshots I sent you,
Yeah.
it like I think it clicks out or
Pauses.
something. Yeah, it
Yeah.
pauses. So you might have to read those because I can't click out to pull them up. But basically,
All
there
right,
was
go
the
ahead.
one.
You tell us.
Yeah, you might have to read those because I'm on my phone and I should have probably done this on my iPad. Oh well.
Yeah.
But so there was this one guy. I think I was talking to him on Hinge or something. I don't even like remember who he was, but he I think we connected on the fact that we grew up in the same area. We knew some of the same people. We may have gone to the same maybe middle school at one point or another. And I think that it just seemed like an easy conversation. And I don't even remember what this guy did. I think it's something to do with like with maybe like cannabis of some sort. I don't know. Which it seems like everyone was doing at some point or another. I don't know. So I don't know, we were like chatting for a little while. The conversation kind of fell off. It didn't go anywhere. And then literally I like had forgotten about him. He like reached out to me out of the blue, texted me. I had to go into my Hinge account and like remember who it was, like look up who excuse me, like who has this name that I have forgotten about. And I like was like, oh yeah, that guy. And I'm like, hey, so I guess do you want to finally meet up? And he's like, hey,
Can we go
yeah.
back? Can we go back? Because I want to tell the audience about this. So
Oh
he
yeah.
had ghosted her for like a year, right, Jamie?
Yeah.
This dude had ghosted her for a year, and this is what I find interesting: is these dudes will ghost you and then offered no explanation as to why, like he just ghosted her. Because you showed me the text, and I saw the text. I wish I could pull it up. Same thing will happen to me if I go to your text. But
Right.
so what happened is that like if you go, because I remember you asked him a question and then he just didn't answer. So
Yeah.
it's like if I ghosted somebody and I didn't answer, I would have like some sort of explanation, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I ghosted you," or "Hey, you know what? I was dating someone," or "Sorry," what is some sort of explanation. You don't just like text someone out of the blue and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he did.
Exactly. So it was like really random. I didn't even know who he was. I had to like do the deep dive to figure out who this person even was.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, so like, haha, you want to finally meet up? And then I think his response was, do you want to come to Venice? And I live in the Valley. And my response was, how about we meet halfway? And then he didn't respond. That was it. He literally left me on red. And I was just like, I was like, wow. So like even in the slightest inconvenience, you
Yeah.
you can't even you like won't even leave your house and meet me halfway. But I don't know. Is it because you're like a lazy, crusty ass dude? Is it
Right.
because you're a broke ass dude? You can't
Right.
afford the gas to get to LA? Like what?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
What
first of all,
people?
he ghosts you. Let's start there. Like, I would be so accommodating if I wanted to get back in somebody's good graces,
You know?
like by ghosting them. I'd be like, yeah, sure. You know what? I'll come to you because I fucked up, right? The
Yeah.
fact that he's just like, he fucked up, he ghosted you, and you're like, you want to meet up? And he's like, can you come to Venice? And then you're like,
Really?
you were even nice. You're like, you want to meet me halfway? And this fucker is like, that's it. Nope. Sorry. Can't
Yeah.
do it.
Like if it's like the slightest inconvenience for you. And also, I'm sorry, dude, but I'm hotter than you. Like, come on. Like you do not deserve this. So
Yeah.
if I'm willing to meet you halfway, that's like a lot for me. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and you won't even leave your house. You're just gonna leave it at that. There's no response. That's just, oh no. This I was like, were you booty calling me after a year? Like what was it? Because we never actually met. It was just like, like a little bit of conversation and then nothing.
Right. Right.
So I
Oh,
don't know. Just like it was some cheap ass, crusty ass dude. And
yeah.
then there was this other one that I was talking to that I know I sent you that screenshot too. I don't know why I'm learning how to strategize with this now. So if we ever do this again, I'll have like a separate tablet with my stuff pulled out. Um, but this other guy that I was talking to, first of all, every guy, they always lie. And I don't care if you say anyone, if they say they work in the industry at all, if they're in fitness, if they're in the industry in any aspect, whether they're a writer, producer, director, whatever it is that they say they are actors. They are liars. Everyone is a fucking actor. All of them. So they're all actors.
Especially in LA. Oh my God. There's like so many people trying to get into the industry. It's like a fucking joke. That just means you're unemployed.
Yeah.
That's another way of saying I'm unemployed.
Truly. So it's like they're all actors, and they say that they use this front that, because no one wants to list that they're an actor because it's such a turnoff to so many people. Right. Because exactly, it means you're broke, it means you're unemployed, it means you're probably a bartender or whatever, whatever you have to do that's like you have a flexible schedule to be an actor. Okay, fine. Yeah. But everyone freaking lies.
Yeah.
Everyone lies. And this one guy, I think he said he was a photographer. And I was like, oh, great. Maybe we work together. I do all of the editorials. I do all the magazine covers. I do all those things. Maybe we've worked together. And then like, that's kind of how you realize that he's not actually a photographer when you're like, oh, what publications have you shot for? Like, oh, and then like they get like, flustered. Oh, I'm lying. I'm caught in a lie. So, these guys, they all lie. And there's this one that I was talking to that, was the photographer. Mm-hmm. And he kept trying to like make small talk with me. And I'm just like, listen, I'm not like a texter. If you want to meet up and like see if we vibe, like let's do it. But he's like, well, and then he said something about, I don't want to make it, a Saturday night date if we're not into each other. And I'm like,
oh yeah, that's right. That's what he said. You're like, do you want to? No, you said like, do you want to do a daytime date or something? Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead. It was something like that.
And then he said something like, do you want? He was like, well, why don't we make it like a daytime thing so it's not like a Saturday night evening date in case we don't like each other? And I'm like, what's the difference? I mean, I might not like you during the day, but I might hate you in the evening. Like in the evening, I have to put way more effort. So if I'm asking you to meet me for an evening, it's like, girls also are not always down to be seen in daylight on the first date. Like, let's be real. It's a whole different strategy of the makeup. Daylight makeup is different from evening makeup. Let's be real. Yeah. It's like if I'm going to go out on a date, it's going to be in the evening. I don't have time for your fucking coffee.
Yeah.
I don't have time for like, let's go on a hike. Like, no, I'm not gonna look cute
during the day. You know what I'm saying? Like we have jobs. Like I remember like someone wanted to meet me for like during the day once. This is before I met Joel. I'm like, I have a job. I fucking work. I can't meet you during the day. Obviously, you don't have one because you're so eager to meet during the day.
Yeah. And then he starts talking about, his acting class is this. And I'm like, you're an actor. Right. Okay. Got it.
Oh my God.
So maybe just lead with that. And then, but it's like, okay, so that's why you're broke. And that is why you can't afford to take me to dinner and why you want to meet for coffee, because these guys just don't want to like blow a wad on the first date that could have two innuendos and fully aware. They don't want to like they don't want to like spend the money to impress girls anymore. And I feel like, especially in LA, like, listen, if you're going to get me to like spend time with a stranger, you at least need to fucking buy me like an appetizer. Take me to some fucking, like, I don't care. You don't need to take me to like a fancy dinner on the first date, but take me to a bar that has food. Take me to a bar that has at least some freaking chips and guac, maybe some like corn succotash. I don't know, maybe some chicken wings, anything. But like, if I'm drinking, I also need to be eating. So like, come on,
Right. Yeah.
So
an appetizer, you know what I mean? Like, let's go to happy hour somewhere. It's cheap.
Anything. Yeah. I dated this other guy for like 6 months that I also small dick, so there was that. But and so the whole time I was on the fence. I was on the fence.
Worst. For any men out there listening, if you got a small dick, that's like the worst. We know you have a small dick.
Right. If you have a small dick and you're not leading with like anything else to like make up for it, It's like I am trying not to be judgmental because I did like this guy's personality and we did have fun together, and so I kept overlooking the fact that like
Uh-huh.
the sex just like wasn't it. But for me to actually commit as much time as I did into this fucker, um, who
Yeah.
had a very average, small to average size dick. I've seen smaller, sadly, but like it was still not it. And
Wow.
after like 4 or 5 months, I was like, hey, so like, can you finally take me to like a restaurant that's at a like, or sorry, can you take me to dinner at a restaurant that's not a bar, like
You're
a
kidding. That's
restaurant?
all you guys would go to were like bars
They
for
were
like
like
months?
bar restaurants because he would always get off late and then it would be like 9 o'clock. And at that point, I'd already eaten. And I'm like, I eat at like 5. I'm not going to wait and eat at like 10 o'clock at
Yeah,
night.
me too. Me too. Me
So I'm
too.
like,
Yeah.
eventually I put my foot down and I was like, it's time for a restaurant at a restaurant that has food that in an actual full menu and something I can order that is actually not like bar food. I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I just think that that is so much what dating in LA is. And I talked to all my girlfriends about this. And, so many of my girlfriends were, we've got our shit together. We're successful. We have our career. And I feel that also is intimidating. Guys don't want girls who aren't needy. Guys
Yes.
want
Yes.
girls who need something from them. And then there's those
Yeah,
guys
because
that
then they
lead
can
with their
control
money.
them.
What'd you say?
Right. I said they want that because they want a woman they can control.
Yeah.
So if a woman needs them for money, right, then it's they can control the woman through the money. And
Correct.
that's what they want. And they don't want a girl that has her shit together. They don't I mean, it takes a hell of a man to have confidence enough to date a girl that has her shit together, you know? Because at that
Exactly.
point, you actually have to bring something to the table other than taking me out to eat or a restaurant or whatever. Like, you can do that for yourself. I can do that for myself. I don't need anyone to take me out or take me on a trip. But like,
Yeah.
you actually have to bring something else to the table, meaning being an equal
Mhm.
partner, having great conversation, like having some value to my life.
Yeah.
And, a lot of men, the only value they know how to bring is money. Is look
Yeah.
what I can get you. Look what I can buy you. Look at all the things that I can do for you with money. And they don't bring any other value at all.
Correct. Yeah, and I have like a wealthy uncle that
Mhm.
has, he's always dated these young girls and he buys them boobs and he buys them cars and he puts all their kids through school, and it's like, and he gives me like $50 for the holidays. And I'm like, where's my car? Like, I'm your freaking family. This is not okay. So it's just so funny, but he likes people he can control and he throws money at them, and I've seen it and I've watched it and I've watched him cycle through these girls, and
Yeah.
he's the rich sugar daddy that likes to spoil and he likes to be in control. And my parents,
Right. Right. Exactly. And
even yeah, he even does it to my parents when they go to visit him. If he's just like being an asshole, he'll just be like, well, here's some money. And they'll be like, what? We don't need your money. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, and then my mom gets really insulted
yeah.
and yells at him, like, stop throwing your money at people. You look like an asshole.
Yeah. Well, you know why he does that? Because he's used to doing that to women who
Yeah.
go for that, right? That are
Yeah.
that are like it's like a pacifier. You throw money at these women that just want a sugar daddy, and it's a pacifier. And he's used to his money getting him out of situations that he normally wouldn't. Like he doesn't have to put an effort except throw money at the problem. And that's
Yeah.
that's how these men do it. And it's really interesting because I always say being broke is a mentality, and it necessarily doesn't have to do with like how much money you have.
Yeah.
Dude mentality,
Throw
that's like
that,
broke dude
dude.
shit, even though he's
Right.
got all this money. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that yeah, that's broke
Yeah.
dude mentality, and
Crusty
it's
ass
just
throwback
bullshit.
dude. Yeah. It's
Right,
broke.
right,
Right. It's the
exactly.
mentality as well as like everything else that comes with it. But it's like you can be a rich dude and still have a broke dude mentality. You're so
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
These
No,
broke,
absolutely.
rusty
I
dudes.
dated, yeah, I dated this guy that was really, really rich. And I remember we were in Louis Vuitton with his friend and his friend's wife, and his friend bought his wife a bag. And this is like, I don't know, 20 years ago. So this is when Louis Vuitton was, I don't know, $4 or $5,000, whatever. So
Mhm.
then his friend turns to him and says, "Hey, why don't you get Patty a bag?" And this dude, I kid you not, he had more money than God. And he turns around and he says, and we were in, I think it was like December. He's like, "Well, maybe for her birthday," which is in September. Okay, September, right? Now, I am not the kind of girl that feels comfortable men buying me stuff. Like a lot of girls will have like their men take them shopping, and I've never felt comfortable in that situation. I just feel
Same.
weird. Yeah, it's cringy for me. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
not,
cringe because then they
yeah,
have
it's
that, they
not
hold it over you. Like, well, I just did all this
exactly.
for you, and
Yeah,
yeah, they have
exactly.
leverage.
Right. And it's not like I would have let him do that anyway. But the fact that he was like, "Well, maybe for her birthday." And I was like, "Oh, you know what? No, 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 no." So you know what I did? The very next day, I went and I bought myself the purse. And honestly, I couldn't afford it. It was so expensive, but I had to try to make a point. I
Hmm.
bought myself the purse, and the
Yes,
next
queen.
Yes, and the next time he came over, it was right on my dining room table. Like as you walked into my back then, like you saw my dining room table, and I had just placed it right smack in the middle of my dining room table. And he walks into my house, and he goes, "Oh my, what did you do?" I go, what do you mean?" I'm playing dumb. Like, "What do you mean?" He's like, you got that bag?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I said I was going to get it for you for your birthday." I'm like, "I don't need you to get it for me for my birthday." I go, "In fact, that's almost a year away, and this style is not going to be available then." So yeah, I'm like,
Out of season.
right, totally. I'm like, you know what? I was like, if I need a purse, I get it for myself.
Yeah.
And he just shut the fuck up. And at that point, like the dynamics in the relationship changed because he realized that I don't need him for his money and he's not going to impress me with his money.
Hmm.
So if he can't be like, "Oh, well, maybe for her birthday." Like if she's a good girl, maybe we'll buy her something for her birthday. Fuck that, dude. You know, you can suck.
Ew.
I can buy
Yeah.
my own shit for my birthday and buy my own shit anytime I want.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. I just think that like the rich guys wanna hold it over you. They want to control you. They want to have leverage because
Yeah,
well, I just did all this nice thing, all this nice stuff for you, and I bought you this, and now
yeah,
I excuse me, now I own you and everything.
yeah,
And and I just feel like the broke dudes, they don't even like lead with their personality. Like they don't even lead. Like I don't know what they lead with. It's like you don't. I get so turned off by people that throw money at me.
yeah.
I've never been
Me
attracted
too.
to rich guys. I wish I was. I'm just not.
Me too.
And I think that's, and it's like, so I've gone for a lot of like the struggling artists, the struggling musicians, because I used to do music in my previous life.
Right.
And so I used to go for that because obviously like the struggling musician is so hot, as sad as it is. It's so sexy. But
Yeah.
and so I was okay with not having with them not having a lot because they made
Right.
up for it in other ways. They serenaded me in song and other things.
Right.
But, I just think in LA as I've gotten older, I'm in my 30s, everyone dating at this age in I guess what's left
Yeah.
left to date in LA, it's I just feel like that these guys are so lost and they just they don't
Yes.
want to put the time and they don't want to put the money in. I just feel like if anything is, like with the other guy, the slightest inconvenience for you, it's not
Yeah.
worth even just like getting out of bed for, you know?
Yeah.
I I don't know how people find their dude in LA. I think it's really hard.
No, it's really hard. And for those of you that don't live in LA, I'm telling you, is a whole different animal because, like, the old guy at the bar, like, he's cool. I lived in Chicago for a long time and I went back there. And I went back there to visit for the summer, and we had like a mini reunion with all the people that I used to work with at the state's attorney's office. We were all attorneys together, and most of them were men, and they all showed up. Every single one except one was married. They had kids, and they were making fun of the dude that wasn't married and had kids. Like they're like, dude, you're like the creepy guy at the bar. Versus in LA, that's like revered. If
Yeah.
you're not married, if you're not single, you're the, douchebag at the bar with the Ferrari. Oh my God. People
Truly.
want to be like you. Everybody wants to be you.
Yeah. They definitely like they make up for it with by overcompensating in other ways, like their fancy car and their fancy clothes. And I
Yeah.
personally, I love getting nice clothes like for myself because it makes me feel good. So I feel like $1,000,000 when I go out, but I'm not dressing up for anyone but myself.
Right. Right.
Even like when I show up for a job, I feel like when I work with guys, I have to look a little cuter than when I work with girls, unfortunately.
Mhm.
It's like
Right.
when you work with girls, you got to be a little bit more low key because you don't want to overstep. It's about them
Yeah.
and girls. All of us have our shit. But with guys want to have like a cute girl there doing their makeup. So I feel like whenever I've like I've just like two different like alter egos that
Right.
I feel like I have to be a little bit more I guess put on or I just have to I feel like I have to be more of like the plus one kind of looking when I show
Right.
up to do guys. Whereas like when I show up to do girls, you kind of got to look a little haggard.
That's funny. That's funny. Yes.
I don't know if I'm wording it properly, but
No, I understand what you're saying. No,
yeah,
I totally get it. In LA
yeah,
and in LA, ladies, there's so many broke men because, like we were saying, everyone's in the industry.
yeah,
And I wrote about it in my book, and so I don't want to give the story away, but I met someone in the industry and he took me for a ride. I can't even tell you. Again, you got to read my book and read the story in it. Like he took me for a ride, and these industry dudes are like they don't have a pot to piss in, and they don't have any ambition. They won't do anything. They won't work,
yeah,
and it's just and it's okay. They just think that it's okay. They
yeah,
simply think it's okay to be a loser that way because they're trying to get into the industry. It's like, okay, I understand you're trying to get into something. In the meantime, why don't you work at Starbucks? Why don't you get some job on the side
get a
that,
job.
right,
Get
get
something. You
something.
never know who you're gonna meet. Get a job as a valet. You never know who you're gonna meet.
Exactly.
There's so many stories where people just get discovered off the freaking street because they're out and about showing face.
Right.
I feel like every date that I've gone on has been these guys talking about what they're going to be and I'm going to be this and I'm going to do this and I have all these big ideas and dreams and I'm writing this and I'm producing this and it's like okay, I don't want to hear what you're going to be. I want to hear what you are right now and what you can bring to my table and like who you are as a person. Stop trying to like wow me with your like big grand ideas of like
Yeah.
that's the thing you talk about on like date 5,
Yeah.
when you
Right.
get
Exactly.
it's not I'm not impressed by everything you're going to be. I just want to know what you are right now.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's the problem is that women fall in love with a man's potential.
Yeah.
And anytime someone says he has potential, it tells me that he's not doing shit right now. That's what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Anytime someone has like potential, that just means he's not doing shit. He's not about shit. So you need to just like write that off. You need to literally write that off. And
Exactly.
I've been with those dudes that had potential. And in fact, my fiance now, he's a musician. And I remember when I first met him, we met on Bumble. When I first met him, yeah, he said that he was a musician. I'm like, oh hell no.
You know?
I'm like, oh no, I am not trying to be with some broke ass damn musician working at the dive bar. I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to do. And then what happened was, and not a lot of people know the story. And then what happened was, one of my really good friends, he's a very successful music producer. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you know this guy? And I told him his name. He's like, oh yeah, he's a super talented guitar player. Yeah, everyone loves him. They love working with him. He's very talented. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not broke. So
Right.
that's the only reason I gave him a shot because
Oh my
otherwise,
gosh.
these broke ass dusty dudes who just like,
Yeah.
who don't have a pot to piss in, don't have a job, don't have any money to support themselves, and expect you to do it.
Yeah, and a good friend of mine, she's a chiropractor. She was telling me this story that she was dating this guy who I think maybe was like an actor, model, something, and he would always want to take her shopping, but then she was buying the clothes. Like he was picking out the clothes that he wanted her to wear, and then she was buying them. And then she was saying that like he would order food on my credit card, or like she was like buying him food, and he would like manipulate her into getting her to pay for stuff,
Oh my God.
thinking he was taking her out, but then somehow she would end up paying. And this
Isn't that
girl's
crazy?
successful. What'd you say?
I said, isn't that crazy?
It's
It's just
yeah.
crazy.
Like so not so I just thought, I was like, girl, you are such a bad. She's like, she's got her own, she got two practices. She's a practice in the Bay and here for chiropractic. She's like, this girl is like a beast, like she's killing it. And I was, when I saw that this guy was, when she was telling me these stories and I felt like this guy was preying on her,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, how do you find these like broke ass dudes that are just mooching off of your money, girl? Like you need to find someone who's going to spoil you. And I don't, like, again, I don't need someone who's just going to throw money in my face. I think
Right,
it's
right,
so,
right, right.
but at
Yes.
least someone who's going to, not just leave you with a tab every
No,
time.
exactly. You want someone to, again, I say you don't have to match me dollar for dollar, but you have to match me hustle for hustle. And you got
Correct.
to be able to pay for yourself, you know? And
At
Deep
least
Blue
listen.
Beach said a lot of guys in SoCal in their 40s live with a roommate. Is that weird? Yes, a lot of men in Southern California live with a roommate and in their 40s. Yes, that is fucking weird. Not just in their 40s, girl, in their 50s. I know two people in their 60s that are living with a roommate. Literally.
It's
And
not even
there's,
uncommon. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so common. It's so common. I'm like, oh no, you are no. That is not, and it's so common that I remember when I bought my first condo. It was a two bedroom. It was a really nice condo, and I remember one of my guy friends from the gym asking me, he's like, "Hey, do you need a roommate?" I'm like, I'm not in college, dude. I don't need a roommate. No.
Yeah.
Like, what are you even talking about? And again, like, if you're younger, I get that. You know what I'm saying? If you're under 30, I get that. But over 30, you should pretty much be like independent and not living with a roommate and having your own place.
I think like I know how expensive like LA is and stuff, but there are gems you can find. They exist.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Of course.
yeah,
No. And especially if you're, over 30, you're 35, you need to have your own place.
yeah,
And
especially if
then
you're trying to be in
Deep
like the
Blue Beach
dating
said,
world and you want to have a girl over and it's so
yeah,
like, oh my God, wait a minute. Oh, wait,
exactly.
Patty, hold on. I just thought of this really funny story. So I think when
Okay.
I was like early 20s, I met
Mhm.
this guy. I don't even remember where I met him. It was either at a party, at some event, something. He asked me out. He's like, let's meet at my house and then I'll drive us. And it was his mom's house. And I showed up and I was looking at his mom and I was like, why would you have me come here? I'm so confused. And then I had to meet his mom and it was very family to
Oh,
lunch.
cringe.
It was so strange.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and then I just felt so uncomfortable because I thought at this point this guy is like 10 years older than me. So I was really young at the
Oh.
time.
And he's living with his damn mother.
I don't even think I was living with my mom. He was living with his mom. And I was
I
just like,
know. That's
what?
insane.
Why not why not
Insane.
just
Oh
like
my
not
God.
lead with that though? Why not just like let's go. I think he was like, let's meet here and then I want to take you to like an art show or something. But it was so strange. And then I felt so uncomfortable because it was just so bizarre. I think
Yeah.
I don't know, I just remember how awkward that date was. And then I'm stuck on this date with this guy for this whole night. And he drove and I didn't have control. And I think I learned after that to always have my car. Nope, I will meet you there. I am no
The
longer
first
meeting
date.
you somewhere else and then driving with you. Well, it's because I'd met him before and he was vouched by, I think, someone else that I knew. So it seemed like a little more like less serial killery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so Yeah, oh my God, yeah, that just like popped into my head and just being like, why did you have me come to your mom's house? This is so weird. This is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's so weird. That is
So
so
weird.
weird. Dee says, red flags, some say they don't like to live alone. No, I just think that's a lie. First of all, I don't know any dude who doesn't like to live alone. Like I could see some women be like, I don't want to live alone, but why wouldn't a dude want to live alone? Doesn't make sense to me, you
True.
know, right? It's just
But
like,
I do have to say though, so I had a renter before. This
mhm.
guy was, I really hope he's not listening. Really, I really hope. I mean, it's fine. He trashed. He destroyed my house. It's fine. Um, but this guy basically like lived in his like swamp lair of a room, which and my house is like pristine, and he just destroyed everything that he touched. But after
Oh
he
my
moved out and
God.
I saw the amount of damage that he had done he actually had two rooms. One of them was a music studio and one was the bedroom. And he destroyed, I mean, like the level of damage that he did to these rooms.
God.
And I was just like, how you like had people in here. You had people come and
Yeah.
record here, and you let people into this room when the floor was this disgusting and the wall was torn open and like warped. And I was just so, like I think that it's some people, it's like yes, they have a roommate, but they still think they live alone because they still live
Yeah.
like a frat boy. Um,
Exactly.
and they don't like I had never seen anything like it. I'll send you this crazy video of I took once I realized that once he gave his notice just I like peeked in there to see what the damage was. And I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. There were clothes all over the floor. There was one t-shirt hanging in the closet, one. Everything else was on the floor in the closet or all over the room, just
Oh,
piles of clothes. It
oh.
smelled like a frat guy's asshole. It just was like moldy. It smelled like rotting asshole. Like I don't even know.
Ah.
Like I have never, and like the amount of money that I had to spend to like fix up this room, and
Yeah.
like I will never live with a guy ever again unless it's someone that I'm dating.
Right.
I will never rent a room out to it was
Absolutely.
just like I learned my lesson, and I was like, you need to literally be living in like a shithole that you can destroy and no one's gonna care about.
Yeah.
Like how
They're not used to taking care of themselves,
yeah.
they're used to their mothers taking care of themselves, and then they go off and they don't know what to do. That's why they're so gross.
Yeah. It's it's like who raised you? Like who allowed you to live like this?
You raise
How
in a
do you not
barn.
know like what this oh my God, it was so disgusting. You won't even believe it until I send you the videos and you're gonna be shook because
Ugh.
it
I
was
can
special.
imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's first of all, men are just like so stunted in their growth period,
Yeah.
and when we talk about these broke dusty dudes, like they so take advantage of women. It's really sad, and they don't even care. I had a friend on who was telling me about how she was dating this trainer, and that those are the worst to date, the absolute worst to date.
Oh,
And she
100%.
was
I would never date a trainer.
dating, yeah, she was dating this trainer, and he comes over to her house with a hamburger just for himself.
Ah,
Like he didn't ask her, "Do you want some food? I'm stopping by wherever. Can I get you something?" He shows up to her house with a hamburger for himself.
oh my gosh. It's
Like,
like he's like, I'm bulking up for the winter. I didn't think you'd want to join my bulking process with all of my steroids.
yeah,
And
is
like,
that crazy? Like,
yeah.
how rude is that? That's just so
Yeah.
freaking rude.
Just
So,
ask. At least just ask. Be like, yo, I'm picking up food. Do you want
yeah,
anything? Like, just a thought. Just ask.
it's courtesy.
You
Courtesy.
know?
That's it. Yeah.
Really. Just ask.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just,
I think communication is so important. Just honestly, because now it's like when you get the ick, and you can't be unicked. It's like, ew, I don't like you anymore. Get the fuck out. We're done.
yes, yes,
All you
yes.
had to do was be like, yo, I'm picking up food. You want anything?
Right,
I could,
right.
it's a yes or no.
Yeah.
Wait,
No,
like you can't afford to get me a burger?
I know. I know.
I'm hungry. I'm
Or
not
at
eating
least,
it.
you know what? If you can't afford it, eat the burger in your car.
You
They come to
know,
my house. Don't
wolf
like
that
bring
shit
it to
down.
my house.
Yeah, wolf that
Yeah.
shit down before you come in. Do not eat that in front of me. I am not okay with it.
Yeah, it's really rude. It's yeah.
Yeah,
So these broke ass dudes. I mean, they're all over the place,
yeah.
and so all right, we're getting close to the end of the live. We've gone on so long. This is great. I can't believe it's already been 40 minutes. Danny, thank you so much for joining.
This
You've
was
been such
so fun.
yeah, guest. I love having you on. This is amazing. And, we'll probably have her on again. Let's read some comments. Kids have so many planned and scheduled activities that they don't learn empathy for others. Absolutely. They don't learn empathy for others. Absolutely. Parents have minimal expectations of their sons. Yes. And that is very true too. If you don't believe me, date a Persian dude because their mothers have screwed them all up.
Yes.
So yeah, if you don't, yeah, Persian men are like, and I'm Persian, I can say that.
Yeah.
But thank you everyone for joining the live. I put my book up here, Never Date a Broke Dude. It comes out May 6th, but I would love it if you guys just bought a copy of it early. I really want to be on the New York Times #1 bestseller list. This is filled with so much great advice about how to become financially responsible and really how to change your mindset about yourself and your life, which is going to get you there. And part of it is never dating a broke dude. So thank you, Danny, for joining. Love you so much.
Love you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining Broke Dude Diaries. We will be here next Monday, same time, same channel. And we may have a guest, but if not, I'm going to do reader comments about these broke ass dudes everyone dates. And then we will go from there. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, Danny. Thank you.
Bye. This was so
Bye-bye.
fun. I'm buying the book.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Danny.
Get the book.
Bye. Bye-bye, everyone.